This is actually a really special occasion. Datavore, my company, is also a New York Enterprise Tech Meetup success story. I met my co-founder, Sanjay, our CTO, here in May 2014. And after talking to our esteemed host, John, and the folks who run SoCure, the aforementioned workbench company, we decided to work together. So if anybody tells you that networking is not worth your time, they are not doing it right. So talk to everyone around you. So Sanjay and I, we also actually spent we did one big thing in common. We spent most of our careers at Goldman Sachs. And working there, we realized that even a blue chip institution like that, which is best in class tools, still has its issues. And one of those big issues was for business users and their ability to work with data. Essentially, everyone was still just hacking stuff together in Excel. Everything always seemed to leak back to Excel. And that was a big problem. We realized that working with data wasn't just making pretty charts. You had to aggregate your data, classify it, clean it, and then you could actually go through the analysis and make those pretty charts and do visualizations. So what do I mean by a business user? I want to get the audience involved real quick. Can you raise your hand if you work with data on a recurring or daily basis? Okay, some of you, most of you, great. I know we got some marketing folks who, you guys will get there. Data's important. How many of you guys know how to code? Much less of you. Now, if you don't know how to code, but you work with data, you are what we call a business user. So that's really what we're targeting with our product here. We want to build a better solution for them, and we felt that we could do that in a web app. And I am a former banker, but I'm going to throw that out the window. We're not going to go into any slides. I don't want to bore you. We're going to go directly into a quick demo of the product. And today, what I want to show you is just a very quick analysis. I want to show you exactly what I just said before. I want to bring in a number of different data sets about actually Goldman Sachs and the bank's peers' stock price performance. I'm also going to bring in some more data about some key performance indicators. The only goal of this is for us to show you how you can use our platform to bring the data in, curate it, analyze it, and then visualize it much, much quicker than you could using Excel or other existing tools. Everyone see okay? Yeah. So I'm first to bring in some data here about Goldman Sachs. This is just some pricing data. And the way our platform works is we try and capture the user's domain expertise. So, the data you work with, you probably know it the best. We want you to build your world of data and organize that in a way that makes sense to you, not use whatever the IT department thinks is correct. So we're going to call this an example of a financial company, right? Because this is the pricing data about that. So immediately what our platform tries to do is go in and identify the data that's in these different fields here. Now, we can click on this first column and we can see here it says new, and over here on the right, we get some more data about this, some more information about the data in this column. We can see that the type origin is suggested. The platform is making a suggestion of what type of variable it should be. It's saying here it should be a date or time. That's correct, that's great. The idea here is that we can make some suggestions for you, but really at the end of the day, who knows this data best to use? So we want to make sure that the recommendations we make are based on what you did or didn't do in the past. So if we get on this next column, or the opening price, we can see a distribution of data in here. You'll see that for essentially all the data we're loading into the platform. Our platform isn't quite as good here. This is actually a number, but it's a specific type of number. It's actually a time series, which is a type of number that behaves a little bit differently. So we now want to actually go and tag this data as belonging to Goldman Sachs. Copy those settings over, and we can see at the top it says edited here, and the origin is now user defined, so the platform knows whenever it sees these different fields here, so volume, close, etc., in this context of financial company, it's now learned how I think about that data. It knows these are some time series. So now if I import this into our platform, which is itself actually a database that lives in the browser, we've compressed that data and stored it, but now we may want to add some more data, right? I don't want to look at just some data about Goldman Sachs. I want to look at maybe everything in the industry. Unfortunately, I don't have any databases on my desktop right now, so we're going to actually load this in from Excel files manually. But if you think about this, it would be really helpful to be able to pull this in from a number of different data sources. So SQL databases, Hadoop, whatever it is, we're basically this layer that sits on top of all of those and provides you with the front end. So now if we want to bring some more data in here, I'm now going to bring in data about one of Goldman's competitors, Morgan Stanley. If I put in financial company here, you'll see it's at the drop down on the left. And now it goes in and applies all those rules from last time. So I don't really have to do much. I click on this column, and the expertise that I've sort of captured here is that these are all time series. Now I'm doing this manually, so I actually have to go in and tag this as Morgan Stanley manually, but everything else it would do for you automatically. So I'm going to quickly just add in one more here, JP Morgan, and then we're going to get to the really cool stuff. You can see that as we go through this, it just gets a lot faster to do because it's applying those settings for us. Sorry, I realized this as well. Cool. So now maybe we actually have some data that looks very different from this time series stuff. I want to bring that in as well. Maybe a portfolio overview, just some key performance indicators. I'm going to bring this in as well. And this also belongs to some financial companies. And we can see here, there's some data that's not super useful for us to load. So I'm just going to get rid of that. But what we want to do now, right, is take this data set here and actually essentially merges the data sets we've already put in there. And the way to do that is we need to find these same instances of financial company that are already in the database, right? So we just loaded 3 different data sets. Each one has their own financial company that we put on as a tag. The way we do that is very simply going over here and saying, these are my labels. And what the platform does is go in and actually try and find examples of those financial companies that you're now loading data about. So we run a bunch of different syntactic and semantic reconciliation algorithms that go in and say, do I see anything that looks and sounds like Goldman Sachs Group Inc? Well, we loaded some data that's tagged as Goldman Sachs. It will go and find that for us here. Morgan Stanley, it lines up perfectly. And then JP Morgan, it didn't pick this one up. We can actually just manually delete this, and we'll see it's on this drop down here. So what we're doing is basically creating a dictionary for the business user that points to the specific places in the database where they're storing their data. I don't know if anybody here has done VLOOKUPs before or tried to merge a lot of data sets, but this is something that is exceedingly painful, especially over time. So once we import the data, we've got this handy audit trail on the right. Anybody else who's worked in finance knows that trying to understand where your data came from, who touched it and when is actually very, very important. So we try and handle that for you as well. Now onto the fun stuff. So we've now just merged 4 different data sets, and we want to actually see what's going on and explore them. So now we're going to open the workspace, and what we've done is we've compressed those 4 different spreadsheets into this database, and now we can query that database. And normally, if anyone's, for those of you who do code, may write SQL queries. There are ways to get data out of these databases, but generally it's pretty hard, or you have to be technical, or you have to at least learn the syntax. We allow you to do that just kind of visually by picking these key tags that make sense to you. So if we click on financial company, we can immediately see, let me just make this a little bit smaller. We can see a list of the 3 companies that we've loaded data about in here. And now we can actually pull out whatever's important to us from all those different data sets. So maybe I want to start with looking at some of these key KPIs or key performance indicators, but I also want to bring in some time series data like closing price and volume. And now I can actually just export this to a CSV and get done with it, but we also allow you to explore your data really, really well. So we brought in data, we've combined it, we've curated it a little bit, and now we want to do some analysis and visualizations. And because we actually stored the data type of your variable, a lot of that was done automatically except for the time series which I defined, allows us to actually just click on any of these different columns and immediately show us every relationship that would make sense to show across these variables. And all these charts are entirely linked to each other and interactive. So you can continue to drill down into the data. We also support pivot tables and some other stuff I might not show you, like formulas. We have the entire Excel formula book in here. What I'm going to show you very quickly is some of our time series capabilities here. Things we can do that are really cool are, open up this chart, and maybe we want to look at all this data indexed over time, something that's done quite frequently in finance. Time series really are the lifeblood of finance. What we can do is we can pick the missing value strategy. What do we do for the days that certain things don't occur in different frequencies? And we can just very simply click index by time. Excuse me, that's over here. And then just put our cursor on the axis, and it will re-index to wherever we want to see. And now our filtering also allows us to go in and filter this data to whichever data we want as well. So a lot of really cool slicing and dicing capabilities. So I'm just showing you kind of a financial example, but this is usable with whatever your data is, which is really exciting. I think now I need to take some questions. I just want to leave you with the fact that we've sort of been under the radar for a while. We finally have a website as of today, which is exciting. But we are deploying we've already deployed at one of the 3 largest US banks. We are likely to some more exciting announcements about them coming soon, and also working to deploy at some of the largest hedge funds in the US as well. And I guess I think we're supposed to have been asked with the audience. We are hiring as well. Anybody who is, I caught up to the trend, anyone who is technical, we're hiring kind of across the stack. If you like to solve hard problems and build graph databases with cool front ends, working for that. And then we are well funded. We're always looking for more money. If anybody has a financial services focus or is interested in data analytics, we'd love to talk to investors and, of course, potential clients. That's it. We'd love to answer questions. Please.
So first, as a former consultant, this is great. I wish I had that years ago.
Yes. See that? We solved someone's problem. My work here's done.
Yeah. No. The question though is now you mentioned. Thank you.
So you mentioned this is a database in the browser. So does the data leave the browser to go to your servers? How does that work?
Great question. So we actually, Sanjay, I should say, built a lot of powerful technology, worked in risk and technology at Goldman Sachs. He knew some of these issues would occur. So what I showed you today is one of our 2 different offerings. This first offering is an individual version. So what's actually super cool about this is hopefully this won't break, I don't even need the internet to use this platform right now. This is all, what we do is we build that database and compress the data and store it in your browser's local memory. So I can continue to bring in data here and work with it. What's super interesting about this is we're able to deploy very, very quickly to financial institutions and people that care about their data. This version has no installation, no maintenance, and the data never leaves your secure environment. Now the second version, which is coming out soon, has collaboration and sharing. That is going to be a little bit of a different story. We may actually have to do some installation, but what's nice is, like we are right now, we're not going to have any of our own servers. Everything will be deployed in the client's environment, which is great. If they want to trust the cloud, we can put the cloud behind it. If they want to use SharePoint, whatever it is, what's nice is nothing ever leaves your environment.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else?
Are you thinking about doing something where this could be white labeled for other things, where it could be a tab within a larger enterprise tool where this is the data visualization at some point?
Yeah, we have thought about it. We've had requests for it. I think it's something that can make sense down the line. Again, I'm very aware of kind of like what's out there from a competitive landscape. If you want just beautiful charts, I would just urge you to use Tableau. If you want to have your users be able to work with those charts, drill down into the underlying data, slice and dice that, and have a lot more collaboration, interactivity, we're probably a better tool for you. So the answer is maybe. It's just right now I think we've gotten enough interest on our own that I'm not sure we need that yet.
Anyone else?
I'll just keep messing around on this and look at
Step
it.
So,
the mic's coming, just wait.
another company in this space is Looker, and a few people are probably familiar with, targeting that same business user, same sort of problem. It sounds like you guys have better protections around data, especially in the local environment caching.
Well, what other advantages do you see in your solution over some of the other competitors in the market?
Yeah, great question. I think that like a lot of folks out there are, generalists. So we have a lot of horizontal solutions out there. There's a lot of people saying, oh, I can do this for everything. We're not trying to be everything to everyone. So we're specifically focused on financial services. We deployed our POC with this massive bank, which you definitely all heard of. In 6 months, those usually take 12 to 24 months. We don't have to talk to compliance. We don't have to talk to IT. As long as they check to make sure we do what we say we do, we're pretty much good to go. So I think that is one main advantage. I think the ability to actually do the entire data analysis process end to end, so allow both data scientists and people who are technical and business users to collaborate and load data and tag that and work with it together without requiring that technical knowledge is also a massive advantage. And then also I think, being, as I said before, the focus, I don't know anybody who can do time series like what we can do here and be able to filter it and work with different frequencies, and we're adding fast regressions and time shifting and a lot of other really cool stuff that just doesn't exist out there. And if it does exist, according to, all the quant hedge funds we've talked to, requires an external server or, basically, you need like Palantir or something like that. So definitely hoping that we've got some competitive advantages around how we've put this product together.
Time for one last question. Great, thanks a lot.
Thanks, John.